Hello, everyone. Get started?
Greetings. Yeah, are we ready?
Yeah. Oh, you want him over? Hello, thank you for joining us. Welcome all, and thanks for being concerned about such an important issue. This is the topic of human smuggling in Michigan. I'm Representative Gina Johnson and Representative Cam Cavett, and I have partnered together to sponsor this necessary legislation. First of all, I'd like to provide a bit of background about the dangers of human smuggling. Human trafficking is a crime in the state of Michigan, but sadly, human smuggling is not. While these two terms sound similar, there's distinct differences between them. Human trafficking refers to the exploitation of men, women, and children for the purposes of forced labor or commercial sexual trade. Human smuggling involves the provision of transportation or fraudulent documents to individuals seeking illegal entry into a foreign country, so into America, into Michigan. The practice of smuggling people across national borders illegally is very, very dangerous to the health and well-being of those being smuggled, as the conditions are usually unsafe. Further, immigration experts report that smuggling is often actually used to lure victims into human trafficking, which we all know is a vile, horrific criminal industry affecting our state and nation. While smuggling immigrants may seem like a faraway problem affecting states near the southern border of our country, states at our northern border, including Michigan, have been far from immune. From January to April of this year, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reports that there were already 8,600 encounters with smugglers here in Michigan. In fact, some smugglers even take to social media to promote their services. But their customers have no recourse when they are harmed, abandoned in the smuggling process, or worse, abused, kidnapped, or forced into labor by predators posing as smugglers who never had any intention of helping them gain access to the United States. In Michigan specifically, the proximity of our Great Lakes ports to international borders heightens the risk of victims being abandoned in hazardous areas, leading to dehydration, starvation, or exposure to extreme elements. Just 5 days ago, the Center Square reported on the significant increase in human smuggling from Canada into the U.S. in recent years. Whether it's by scuba diving across the Detroit River, believe it or not, snowmobiling across remote terrain and frozen waterways, or employing homemade submarines. Another report from Fox 2 Detroit shared the words of Diana Cruz, a Mexican migrant who was abandoned by smugglers at the U.S.-Canadian border. In detailing her heartbreaking experience, she said, quote, "They throw you like a dog in the street and don't care if you even have a way to communicate when you get there." As a border state, Michigan is responsible for over 700 miles of the nation's northern border. Only Texas and Alaska are responsible for a larger segment of international border. We have an ethical responsibility to protect people like Diana from dangerous smugglers or those posing as smugglers at our border. That's why Rep. Cavett and I partnered to introduce this legislation that criminalizes human smuggling here in Michigan. Rep. Cavett, would you like to take it from here and share about the legislation?
Yeah, thank you, Rep. Johnson.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you all for joining us today. And I want to address this pressing issue that demands immediate action: the lack of criminal penalties for human smuggling under Michigan law. While human trafficking is rightly criminalized, there is currently no state-level penalty for human smuggling. This oversight hinders our law enforcement's ability to combat this serious crime effectively. As a border state, Michigan is responsible for over 700 miles of northern border, second only to Texas and Alaska. Nationwide, encounters with illegal immigrants have nearly doubled in the past 3 years, and the northern land border has seen a 114% increase in such encounters since 2021. The 106th House District, which I represent, borders Canada, making border security a significant concern for my constituents. Our proposed legislation will align Michigan's laws with federal regulations, empowering state prosecutors to take action if federal officials are unable or unwilling to do so. Currently, our state laws do not criminalize human smuggling, only human trafficking. This new legislation will address that gap by criminalizing several key activities. Alien smuggling, attempting or to bring unauthorized individuals into the state at unauthorized locations. Domestic transportation, which is moving unauthorized individuals within the state in violation of this law. Harboring, which is concealing or shielding unauthorized individuals from detection. Encouraging and inducing, which encourages unauthorized individuals to enter or reside into our state. And conspiracy, aiding and abetting, which is participating or assisting in any of these offenses. This legislation will help equip our law enforcement with the tools needed to effectively combat human smuggling, protecting vulnerable individuals, and securing our state. In conclusion, it is time to equip our state law enforcement with tools they need to combat human smuggling effectively. By criminalizing this act at the state level, we can protect vulnerable individuals, disrupt dangerous smuggling networks, and address the border crisis head-on. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Yes, we talked about how this issue is affecting border areas. How is this issue affecting the rest of the state? As in any other topic like this, it's a potential crime or promoting other violence, other indiscretions to women, children, anyone vulnerable. It can snowball into an effect across the state. We've seen crime in western Michigan escalate with illegal immigration, and human smuggling is often tied into this.
Yeah. Recently in Grand Traverse County, they pulled over a busload full of illegal immigrants. It was pulled over by a county sheriff. The local officials don't have any tools to implement to charge someone with with smuggling. So these kind of tools will address that issue. If the federal government is not going to enforce the laws, then it's going to be up to our state to do that. Thank you for that question. Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, I'm Danny with Mers. You, Rep. Johnson, you spoke a little bit about the use of social media to promote some of these smuggling services. Do you have any more detail on that?
It's amazing that someone would be that open about something that is heinous. It's derogatory, or it's detrimental to people's lives and puts them in even more vulnerable positions. But yes, they're that bold that they actually put it on social media to entice and use whatever form of communication they can find to get more people to participate. Unbelievable, but it's going on. That's why it needs to be in legislation to make it illegal, so our law enforcement has a way to deal with this, and that'll shut that down.
That's
largely.
correct. It's mainly advertised in Canada on our northern border. And those folks a lot of times are tricked, and they get caught into trafficking situations where the intent was to be smuggled across the border, and then they're basically kidnapped into a life of servitude. Yes, sir.
Yes. Were there any federal smuggling charges brought in recent years in Michigan regarding activities in the Michigan-Canada border that you guys know of?
I can get back to you on that question.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
no
the answer to
problem.
that.
I'll get you an exact quote. I believe the answer is yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It's gone up 114%. So we'll get you some for instances.
Thank you.
No one else? All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here and covering this. It's an important issue, and I'm glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thank you.